Welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to start an amazing journey back in time. We will look at the long, beautiful history of ancient Egypt. This video is special because it will help you learn English easily while listening to an awesome story. Please listen carefully to the words and repeat them after me if you want to practice your speaking. Let's begin our historical adventure right now. Long ago, a great river flowed through a very dry desert. This river is called the Nile River, and it is the longest river in the whole world. Every year, something wonderful happened in Egypt. The heavy rains from the mountains made the river grow larger. The water moved over the dry land and left rich, dark soil behind. This special soil was perfect for growing food like wheat and vegetables. Because of this water, people could live in a place where it was normally too hot and dry. Famous historians always say that Egypt is the gift of the Nile. Think about how important water is for our lives today. Early humans came to the Nile Valley thousands of years ago. Before that time, they walked from place to place to look for animals to hunt. But when they found the Nile, they decided to stay in one place. They became farmers. They built small houses made of mud bricks. These mud bricks became very hard under the hot sun. They also made small boats from river plants called papyrus. Papyrus is a strong plant that grows near the water. They used these boats to catch fish and move from one village to another. Imagine living in a small mud house next to a giant green river. As time passed, the small villages grew much bigger. Soon, there were two different kingdoms in Egypt. One was Lower Egypt in the north, near the sea. The other was Upper Egypt in the south, near the mountains. The king of Lower Egypt wore a beautiful red crown. The king of Upper Egypt wore a tall white crown. For a long time, these two groups did not live together as one country. They had different ideas and different leaders, but they both loved the river because it gave them food and life. Remember these two colors, red for the north and white for the south. Around 5,000 years ago, a very strong king came to power. His name was Narmer or Menes. He wanted to make Egypt one big, strong family. He fought brave battles and joined the two kingdoms together. To show everyone that Egypt was now one country, he made a special new crown. He put the red crown and the white crown together into one double crown. Narmer built a grand new capital city called Memphis. Memphis was near the place where the two kingdoms met. This was the start of the first dynasty of Egypt. Let's write down the word dynasty, which means a line of rulers from the same family. After Egypt became one country, the rulers became very powerful. People did not just call them kings, they called them pharaohs. The people believed that the pharaoh was a god on earth. Because the pharaoh was a god, everyone had to follow his rules completely. The pharaoh kept the country safe and made sure the Nile River flooded every year. If the people worked hard for the pharaoh, they believed the gods would look after them. This period of time is known as the Old Kingdom. It was a peaceful time when Egypt became very rich and organized. Try to feel the great power that these ancient rulers had over their people. The pharaohs wanted to live forever even after they died. They believed in a beautiful world called the afterlife. To prepare for this journey, they built huge stone tombs. These massive tombs are the famous pyramids that we can still see today. The first pyramid was not smooth. It looked like big stone stairs. It is called the Step Pyramid, and it was built for King Djoser. A clever architect named Imhotep designed this building. He used heavy stone blocks instead of mud bricks, so it would last forever. Think about how difficult it was to move huge stones without modern machines. Many years later, an even greater pharaoh wanted a bigger tomb. His name was Khufu. He commanded his workers to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. This pyramid is one of the ancient wonders of the world. Millions of giant stone blocks were used to build it. Thousands of farmers worked on the pyramid when the river flooded their fields. They were not slaves, they were paid with food, beer, and clothes. Next to the pyramids, they carved a giant stone statue with the body of a lion and the head of a human. This statue is called the Sphinx, and it guards the tombs. Look at how big a lion is, and imagine a statue much bigger than a house. Building these massive pyramids required a lot of organization and money. The government had to collect taxes from all the farmers in the land. They collected taxes in the form of wheat, cows, and cloth. They did not have paper money like we use today. For hundreds of years, the Old Kingdom remained strong and wealthy. But slowly, the pharaohs spent too much money on these giant buildings. The local leaders in the villages became greedy and wanted more power for themselves. Finally, the central government broke down, and the peaceful age of the pyramids came to an end. Notice how even the biggest kingdoms can fall when people stop working together. After the Old Kingdom fell, Egypt entered a dark time with many wars. There was no single leader, and different cities fought each other for food and land. But then a brave leader from the south united the country again. His name was Mentuhotep II, and he started the Middle Kingdom. This new era was a time of safety, art, and great literature. The capital city was moved south to a beautiful city called Thebes. The pharaohs of this time did not build giant pyramids anymore. Instead, they spent their wealth making life better for the regular people. Notice how the focus changed from giant tombs to protecting the living people. The Middle Kingdom pharaohs were very smart managers. They created large lakes to save extra water from the Nile River. During dry years, they used this saved water to grow plenty of food. This helped they prevent terrible hunger across the land. They also sent brave soldiers to guard the borders of Egypt. They built strong mud brick forts near the trading paths. Because the country was safe, traders could travel to faraway lands. They brought back expensive things like dark wood, sweet perfumes, and bright blue stones. Imagine a busy marketplace full of colorful items from different countries. This was also a wonderful time for artists and builders. Sculptors made realistic statues of the pharaohs. In these statues, the kings did not look like distant gods. They looked like tired, wise men who cared for their people. Painters decorated the walls of tombs with bright colors and gold paint. They painted beautiful scenes of everyday life, like dancing, fishing, and harvesting wheat. Jewelers made amazing necklaces and crowns using pure gold and silver. They used shiny red and green stones to create shapes of lucky animals, like beetles and hawks. Imagine the sparkling gold jewelry shining under the bright Egyptian sun. The Egyptians also wrote many famous stories during the Middle Kingdom. They wrote their stories using hieroglyphs, which are small pictures that represent words or sounds. They wrote on smooth sheets made from the papyrus plant. Remember, one famous story is about a traveler named Sinuhe who had to run away from Egypt. People loved reading these exciting stories for entertainment. However, after many peaceful years, weak leaders came to the throne. Foreign people from the east, called the Hyksos, arrived with fast horses and strong metal weapons. They took control of northern Egypt, and the Middle Kingdom ended. Let's remember that new technology can quickly change the history of a country. The Egyptian people did not like being ruled by foreign leaders. A family of brave princes from the city of Thebes decided to fight back. They learned how to use the fast chariots and strong weapons of their enemies. A chariot is a light wagon pulled by fast horses. A young prince named Ahmose defeated the foreign rulers and drove them out of Egypt. This victory started the New Kingdom, which was the most famous time in Egyptian history. The pharaohs decided that Egypt must become an empire to protect itself. They sent their powerful armies to conquer lands far to the north and south. Imagine the loud sound of horses and chariots moving across the desert. During the New Kingdom, some very unique leaders ruled the land. One of the most famous was a woman named Hatshepsut. She was a wise queen, but she took the title of pharaoh for herself. To show her power, she sometimes wore the traditional fake beard of a king. Hatshepsut did not like fighting wars. She preferred trade. She sent a big group of ships down the Red Sea to a rich land called Punt. The ships returned with beautiful gold, ivory, and real frankincense trees. She built a magnificent temple against a high stone cliff to celebrate her success. Think about how brave she was to lead a country in ancient times. Another famous pharaoh of this time was Akhenaten. He changed the religion of Egypt completely. For thousands of years, Egyptians worshipped many different gods, but Akhenaten said there was only one god, the sun god called Aten. He closed the old temples and built a brand new city in the desert. His beautiful wife was Queen Nefertiti, whose name means "a beautiful woman has come." The artists of this time painted people in a very natural and unusual style. However, the people were angry because they missed their old traditional gods. When Akhenaten died, the people quickly destroyed his city and went back to their old ways. Let's reflect on how difficult it is to change a country's deep traditions. After the religious trouble, a young boy became the new pharaoh. His name was King Tutankhamun, but today we call him King Tut. He was only 9 years old when he became king. Remember, he died when he was very young, around 18 years old. Because he died suddenly, he was buried in a small tomb in the Valley of the Kings. This valley was a secret place in the desert mountains where New Kingdom pharaohs hid their tombs. King Tut was not a major king, but his tomb was never found by thieves. When archaeologists opened it many years later, it was full of pure gold treasures. Imagine walking into a dark room and seeing everything sparkling with yellow gold. After King Tut, a new family of strong soldiers took control of Egypt. The greatest ruler of this family was Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great. He ruled Egypt for a very long time, almost 67 years. He had many wives and more than 100 children. Ramses was a powerful military leader who wanted to make Egypt the strongest empire on earth. He led his army north to fight a big battle against the Hittite Empire. This famous battle is called the Battle of Kadesh. Both sides fought hard, but no one could win the war completely. Think about how difficult it is for two big armies to fight in the hot sun. Because no one won the war, Ramses did something very smart. He signed the first written peace treaty in world history with the Hittite king. Both kings promised to help each other if another enemy attacked them. This peace treaty allowed Egypt to enjoy many years of safety and wealth. Ramses used this peaceful time to build more monuments than any other pharaoh. He built huge temples with giant stone statues of himself. The most famous temple is Abu Simbel, which was carved directly into a mountain. 4 massive statues of Ramses sit at the entrance, looking out over the river. Imagine standing next to a stone foot that is bigger than your entire body. Ramses also built a grand new capital city in the north called Pi Ramses. It was a beautiful city, filled with green gardens, shiny temples, and busy military bases. During his long rule, the people of Egypt enjoyed a golden age of wealth. Gold from the southern mines flowed into the temples every day. The walls of the temples were covered with large carvings showing Ramses defeating his enemies. He wanted everyone to remember him as a brave warrior and a living god. When Ramses died at an old age, the entire country cried for their great protector. Notice how a stable leader can bring long-lasting peace to a country. After the death of Ramses the Great, Egypt slowly began to lose its power. New groups of people from the sea attacked the borders of the country. These attacks cost a lot of money, and the government became poor. The workers who built the tombs went on strike because they did not receive their food payment. This was the first recorded workers' strike in history. Slowly, the central power of the pharaohs became weak again. Egypt was divided into smaller parts, and local priests took control of the wealth. The grand empire of the new kingdom began to fade away into history. Remember that even the most powerful leaders cannot stop the changes of time. In its final period, weak and divided Egypt was attacked by foreign countries. First, the powerful Assyrian army came from the north with iron weapons. Later, the great Persian Empire conquered Egypt and ruled it for many years. The Egyptian people were unhappy because they wanted their own local leaders. Then, a famous young king from Greece came to save them. His name was Alexander the Great. The Egyptians welcomed him happily and called him a true pharaoh. Alexander built a beautiful new capital city near the sea called Alexandria. Let's write down the name Alexandria, which became a center of learning and science. After Alexander died, his trusted general Ptolemy became the new ruler of Egypt. He started a new line of Greek kings called the Ptolemaic dynasty. These rulers lived like Egyptians, but they spoke Greek and kept Greek traditions. They built the famous Library of Alexandria, which held thousands of papyrus books. They also built a giant lighthouse on a small island to guide trading ships safely. This lighthouse was another wonder of the ancient world. For nearly 300 years, this Greek family ruled the land of the Nile. The final and most famous ruler of this dynasty was a brilliant queen. Think about how a city can become a center of knowledge for the whole world. This intelligent queen was Cleopatra VII. Unlike her family members, Cleopatra learned to speak the native Egyptian language. She was very smart
spoke many languages, and understood international politics. At that time, the Roman Empire was becoming the most powerful nation in Europe. Cleopatra knew that Egypt needed the help of Rome to stay independent. She became a close partner of the famous Roman leader Julius Caesar. With his support, she defeated her brother and became the sole ruler of Egypt. She brought wealth back to the country and made Alexandria beautiful again. Imagine a clever queen using her mind to protect her country from a large army. After Julius Caesar died, Cleopatra made a partnership with another powerful Roman named Mark Antony. They fell in love and wanted to rule the Eastern world together. However, a new leader in Rome named Octavian did not like their growing power. He sent a massive Roman navy to fight against Antony and Cleopatra. The big battle took place on the sea, and the Roman army won. Cleopatra returned to Alexandria, realizing that her beautiful kingdom was lost. To avoid being captured by the Romans, she chose to end her own life. With her death, the long history of the Pharaohs ended, and Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Take a quiet moment to think about the long, beautiful journey of Egyptian history.